Hey, this is Stacia. Oops. And I'm going to show you my round 5 game from the Island Open. This is the final game. I was sitting 2 out of 4 and my goal was 2.5. So if I can get a draw or a win this last game, I would meet my goal and definitely gain rating points and be a happy camper. So let's go ahead and look at this one. My opponent was I think, 9-year-old kid, rated, 150 points more than me. And, it's just, I still can't get over what that's like. Sitting across from a 9-year-old kid who has his water bottle, his mom has to set him up at the board. I mean, he's a kid. he's he's not unlike the kids I teach in my chess classes at schools and who don't know how the pieces move, except this kid is higher rated than me and can outplay me on a chessboard. It's just I don't think I'll ever get over that. It's just mind-boggling to me how that's possible. But I have learned one thing. So, since he's a kid, what that means to me is that he has two things he does better than me. He's better at tactics, very sharp with tactics, and he knows a lot more patterns than I do. Because I know how kids are, they're fairly impulsive, but, if he sees tactics and patterns better than me, he can play good moves and he can play them quickly. Me, on the other hand, I'm a deep thinker. I like to really spend my time and find the best moves, consider different options, etc. So that's my advantage over him. But he's higher rated, so I think both things are important in chess, so it's kind of that was that kind of battle. Plus he's a kid, it's the last day. I'm pretty exhausted at this point. I'm not even sure I feel like playing chess anymore because I played so much. But he's a kid, he has, plenty of energy and well, let's have a look at this final game. Okay, so I went e4, he played c5, and so we have a Sicilian defense. I went d4, he took, I played c3, and I said, please take my pawn. And he shook his head no. I didn't actually say anything. Okay, so e5, knight d5, knight f3, and this is so far following my round 3 game against the 13-year-old kid. But in this moment, he changed things up with the move d6. Now, I have since learned that I played this tournament the opposite way that Calvin Blocker suggested that I play it. He said if that bishop opens up, then you can actually play bishop c4. And I'm trying to do this without the computer. Let's see. So that if knight b6, bishop b3, and bishop g4, trying to put pressure here, then I think we just have a tactic, right? Like we have this. I think this is the point. And we're going to win the game with this. I'm pretty sure. I'll check with the engine. Yeah, white's doing quite well. All right, so it's because of that trick that here we don't have to take on d4. We can play bishop c4. But I didn't understand that, so I took. All right, but now I know. And after knight c6, then I played bishop c4 because it does come with tempo. And after knight b6, bishop b3. Now, I actually think black should, trade off the center. That's what I think they should do. So I'm going to check with the engine. Yeah, d takes e5. This is what I thought. Because after this, I was actually planning on taking with the knight. But he could take with the knight, right? Yeah, and if he takes with the knight, I did see this. And I've had this position in a real game. It was during the pandemic, so it was online. But I do believe it's on my channel even. It was a Tuesday tussle game against Denny Helmuth. But that game did result in a draw. Although I was pushing for most of the game. I was pressing. But it did end up being a draw. And yeah, this is roughly equal, this position. That's what I thought would happen. But instead he played d5. That's, you know, I mean, I don't like that move, but I kind of understand it. So, you know, it's a kid playing. It's just amazing to me. But this is kind of a deep idea. He's saying, I'm going to go for a French structure, but since I haven't played e6, I can go bishop f5. And after bishop f5, only then go e6, and it's like a Caro-Kann, you know, and that, I have to admit, that looks like not a bad setup for black. So my knee-jerk reaction when I saw d5 was like, ooh, this is good for me. I'm going to get an attacking position. And then I saw that he can go bishop f5, and I was like, wait a minute. You know, this is different. I don't like this. So, okay, I went h3, which I thought was a good move. I didn't want to allow bishop g4. Calvin Blocker actually said I'm a genius here. And obviously he was joking. But he gave me some moves here that I thought were very interesting, but I don't think I feel like sharing it with the world, so I'm not going to. But h3, bishop f5, and castles is what happened in the game, and e6. All right, so knight c3. And here he played bishop to e7. Yeah, and we both just kind of developed from here. I don't know what to say about these moves. Bishop f4 because what else? I mean, I didn't really want to play bishop e3. Had a reason for that. Can't quite remember why now. But he castled. I went rook ac1. Yeah, and I have to admit, I was having a little bit of some nightmares because in game 3, you know, black danced all over my position on the queen side, and I thought, you know, here it's even more likely because, you know, he's got this bishop outside, and I don't know if I can attack here. I just don't know if I'll be able to do that. So after this, I actually decided to play bishop c2. Now, I reasoned that his bishop, even though it's his bad bishop, you know, it's quite good. And even though this is my good bishop, it's quite bad. So I actually reasoned that trading off bishops would be acceptable here. Let's see what the engine says. Yeah, it's one of the top moves. Okay, so I was right. But this is a concession. I don't want to make this trade necessarily, but I didn't see a choice. And I took with a rook, which looks a little awkward, but maybe I can, you know, double on the open file. So that was the idea. He played h6, and I went b3. I actually really like my move b3. I haven't looked at the engine. This move is prophylaxis. All that dancing, all the knight moves into my position, all of those. b3, I think, stops all of it. Like, all of it. Like, after b3, knight a5 looks silly. After b3, these moves aren't possible. And, I mean, this knight in particular just becomes a very awkward piece after b3. So I played this, and I really liked it. Let's see what the engine says about it. It's not giving it as one of the top moves at all. The engine wants knight e2, a3, which would allow all that stuff, and rook e2, which I would never consider. I have no clue what rook e2 is at all. So that's like, what the heck is that move? I'm looking at the line. Rook e2, bishop e4, rook c2 at once. Wow. I mean, okay, this is weird. Like, we're trying to provoke bishop b4 so we can come back. Like, okay, that's over my pay grade, so we're not gonna look at that one. I liked b3. Oh, okay, and I see that the engine actually does give equality still here. So, and it was equal here before b3, so it does like b3. Okay, so he went queen to d7. I'm gonna turn the engine off. I went queen d2. And the idea is, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm going to sack on h6. You know, maybe I will. All right, so f6. Yeah, and I think that's a good move because now if I try to sack on h6, I don't think this works at all. Like here and... what could he do here? Maybe just that, I was thinking. And now if how do I further my attack? I mean, I basically have just a queen. So it's not like this is very threatening. And, you know, next he can take here. So I probably would take here, but I don't really want to. And yeah, if you check, I mean, there's this. So that's sort of the point. So yeah, all of that looks like I just gave up a piece for nothing. So after f6, I played this move, rook to e1. Now, it turns out that taking is an advantage. I need to turn the engine off, though, because I looked at takes, and I thought here, well, I thought he could take with a bishop. That does apply pressure here. I don't know. Am I going to play knight e5? So I'll ask the engine. The engine says knight e2. That does guard that again. And then it wants queen f7, bishop d6. Bishop d6. Well, I wasn't really expecting queen f7, though. I was expecting... Well, I kind of understand queen f7 because I think the knight needs to reroute using that square. Although even that's still difficult. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think, you know, black's position is awkward to play. Maybe that's why this is better for white. But after queen d2 and f6, I went rook e1. So I'm just defending e5, and he did take, I took. All right, and I thought this is probably equal. I saw he would go bishop f6. I don't really know what to do about that. I went queen e3. And after takes and queen takes, I'm attacking e6. So he defended it, and I played rook to c1. Yeah, I think it was in this position I just got like disgusted with myself. I was like, you know, I had a little pep talk with myself in my own head. I'm like, Stacia, what are you doing? Like, your knight's pinned, your rooks are disconnected, everything's undefended. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to play chess or are you trying to lose? So I convinced myself to consolidate with rook to c1. Let's see what the engine says. Rook e to c1 is the best move. Okay, so consolidation is good. We need to coordinate our pieces. Okay, that actually unpins the knight. Now my rooks are protected. Things are a lot better. So, okay, he played rook f5, which I did expect. I went queen e3. And, okay, I was thinking, you know, I want to move my knight and maybe reroute my knight to I mean, the dream would be to go here, but that's very difficult to do. So I was coming up with ideas like this sort of thing. I think that actually is a good plan, but it does take time. So I didn't have time because he played e5, which is probably best. Yeah, it is best. Yeah, this is the kind of move a kid would play, right? Like I can't take the pawn because he would fork me. I mean, um am I losing here? It's a good question. I kind of thought yes, but the computer says I can play e6. I did see this. But after e6, he takes my queen, I take his queen, he takes check. Actually, this wins, doesn't it? Because now I have two threats. Like, if he takes, I win a rook. So actually, I don't think he can take there. So instead of this move, maybe, wait a minute. Right here. Takes. Maybe take here first. Now, maybe I can take on e3. Yeah, I don't know. I'm up a pawn, right? I'm up a pawn. But rook fc5. This is what the engine gives. Yeah, now my knight's pinned. Okay, so black has pressure. So, I mean, the engine is saying that black has full compensation for a pawn. Plus, my pawn does look kind of weak. It's not far enough advanced to be a threat. So, okay, that's all pretty interesting. But instead, I just didn't even allow that. I just went knight e2. I did not want to take and allow that fork. So, I went here. He took, and played e4. Yeah, I do think that... Wow. Well, actually, in the game, I actually thought maybe black's a little bit better here. But I wasn't sure. I thought it also might be equal. Turns out it's better for white. Shows what I know about chess. I do not know why white is better. That my best guess would be that the reason I thought I was equal is because this knight has been horrible for a long time, and he's still horrible. So that is why I thought I'm probably fine. Okay, so I went rook to c5, attacking the weak pawn. He went queen d6. And I said, hey, would you like to trade queens? Oh, and I forgot to say, this isn't like me necessarily, but, it was in this position. After queen e3, I actually offered a draw here. I offered a draw. In hindsight, why did I offer a draw? I think because I was exhausted. And because I knew that my goal was to get half a point, and I would meet my goal, tournament over, I go home happy. So that is really what I thought here. I mean, he is higher rated, so a draw would be a very good result for me. And the kid was just like, I'm thinking. That's what he said. I don't even know what that means. Does that mean like... I don't know. And I offered the draw, then hit my clock. I did it in the right order, I think. So he's just like, I'm thinking. I'm like, okay. And then he played that. So I think maybe he saw that fork idea while I was offering the draw. All right, so e4 and all this. And he did not trade queens. Now there's pressure on f2. I went queen e3. Okay, he went there. I think his idea was if I go queen g3 trying to trade, he'll go rook g3. So I went knight g3. Now he went rook f7, and I played a4. So I'm saying I'm going to attack your knight and then take your pawn. He said, no, thank you. I'll protect my pawn. So I went knight e2. Knight d7 attacked my rook, but I saw it. So I checked him instead. Yeah, and here I was starting to feel like, wow, maybe I have the edge. I don't know. But I was scared in this position. I'm not very good at major piece endings, to be honest. Especially when I'm exhausted. So after queen g3, I'm like, you know, I'm basically saying, like, please trade queens. But I did not offer a draw again. I just figured, you know, if that kid wanted a draw, I think he knew I wanted a draw at this point. You know, I was not going to offer a draw again. And he went queen b4. That applies some pressure, but you know, nothing more than that. So I went queen c3. I actually think a queen trade is actually good for me here because my pieces are more active. If he takes, you know, my knight can take him on this. I mean, this looks like a passive position for him. And maybe I could stir up some trouble. I'm not sure. Might just be a draw, though. But he went here. I went here. He went here. Okay. And we just repeated moves. I think we both wanted to go home. That's a lot of chess. And, yeah, it was a lot of chess. So here, you know, we repeated moves. And I got my draw, and I got my 2.5 out of 5. And I gained 70 rating points from this tournament. I mean, I have to tell you guys, I was very excited about this whole tournament. When I first went to this tournament, I was convinced that I was going to get crushed. I hadn't been studying as much as I would like, and it really felt like a lot of the training I had done recently had not paid off. My results at Parma were not impressive, and my time management was just terrible, and blah, blah, blah. I was very discouraged. And I even lost 2 training games on chess.com and went back under 1700 on chess.com. And I just was feeling like, you know, am I just not able to do this? You know, sometimes you feel like that. Sometimes you feel like, you know, is this even working, any of this? And, you know, this tournament, I actually walked into the tournament with that very attitude and won my first game in 20 moves. And after that, I was like, wow, you know, maybe not. Maybe I am getting better. And after the rest of this tournament, I am certain that I'm getting better because I have never won against 2 1900 players and outplayed a 2000 player in the same tournament. That's never, ever been close to happening. So that is a new thing for me, and well, I'm pretty excited. I think I do feel I'm about to have a breakthrough. I do feel I will break 1800. My goal is by end of year, but if it happens shortly after that, that would be fine with me too, because I do feel like the problem with, I know I'm babbling, but the problem with rating goals is that you put pressure on yourself to perform. And I don't think that helps. I think that it's better to relax, enjoy the process, enjoy the games, enjoy chess. Just enjoy it. And when you enjoy it, good things happen. That is honestly how I feel. And it's funny to say that because when I was a cornhole champion, which is not all that long ago, I came to the same conclusion with cornhole too. Like when I would put tons of pressure on myself in games and be like, you have to win this, Stacia, and you have to throw every bag in the hole, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, I would actually play worse, like noticeably worse, and lose against people I wasn't supposed to lose to. And I remember flying back from a tournament on a plane, and having the realization that, you know what, like maybe I'm going about this all wrong, like mentally. Maybe I need to just be like, hey, enjoy the game. I do enjoy it, and I should just play and, just look at the hole and be like, I need to throw this bag in the hole. Because that's a very simple thing. That's a very simple task to tackle. Like, I need to throw this bag in the hole. Okay, fine. I've done that so many times. I can do that. I feel like chess is not that much different, right? Like I need to make a good move right now. Like I need to, play a good game maybe. That is less daunting than being like I have to break 1800 by the end of the year. Like that is harder cuz it's very uncertain how to accomplish that. I know how to give myself chances for that, but to actually put that pressure on myself and say, I think it's sort of unreasonable. I do. And I think that the pressure also sucks out some of the joy out of the whole process. So I don't know if you guys are still with me. I am babbling. So, but for me, that has been a realization. And to his credit, National Master Michael Joelson has been pressing that very thing on me um, these last 6 months, maybe a year, where he's like, look, don't worry about your rating. Just play chess. He's like, don't worry about losing on time. Just enjoy your games and play the best that you can, try your best. And more, I realize how right he has been this whole time. I don't think, the irony of it is that if you don't care about your rating too much, if you let your rating just be what it is and you just enjoy chess and you try to just improve the way you play, the irony is that your rating will go up. While if you focus too hard on your rating, you'll put additional pressure on yourself and that will result in you actually having a harder time. And it might actually result in you losing ratings. So like it's one of those things that is so counterintuitive. Like so if you care about your rating, the first thing you need to do to get your rating up is to not care. Don't care about your rating, care about improving and enjoying the process. And with that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you. And this is Stacia. I will be back with more chess. See you later. Bye.